Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Kelly here. So for today's video, I'm giving you 11 tips in how to stand out as an intern. So I feel like I've gotten a lot of experience either at a job or at an internship. I've interned one place at an office and then two at the hospital. But I feel like these tips could be either as a volunteer, as an intern, or even when you're starting off as in a new job as well. And so let's continue on. So don't forget to like if you like any of these tips and subscribe down below. So yeah, let's get on with the video. Alright, so tip number 1 is dress professionally, or if a uniform is already provided for you. So for me, I've interned at a hospital, so there's already scrubs required, or if a certain shirt that they give you for you to wear. I feel like that's the most easiest way because it's already offered to you and what they're the standard of what they want you to wear. If it's like in a hospital setting, then I would say mostly like a blouse or a button-up shirt. Anything just that looks professionally well done, because at the same time you are showing a statement in how you dress professionally and that you're not there to mess around but to be professional. And also for like your hair, I like to have my hair like in a ponytail up like out of my face, because like if you're working a lot, you don't want your like hair in your face and that just keeps bothering you and just messes you up. So that's why I always have my hair up and away from my face. So the second tip is introducing yourself. And if you're starting off new at an internship, at a new job, it's really important that you introduce yourself right there, like right in the start, because I feel like that's where you gain more of a relationship with different employees, and that's where they will notice you the most, because you're putting yourself out there and you're like introducing yourself, and then that's how you gain relationships with an employer, and they'll remember you. Oh yeah, this intern. And so they'll remember you when you introduce them. Obviously you're going to be greeting them politely and with respect, so they'll take notice of you introducing yourself first, because it does show that you are taking initiative. So tip number 3 is be on time. I know everyone tells you it's really important to be on time, but when it comes to an intern and a volunteer, it's also really important as well than an employer. Because one time, just like a little quick story, I came late to my internship for just 3 minutes, and I thought that they wouldn't care because technically I'm not an employer, so they don't pay me. And so I thought they don't take a knowledge that oh, I'm there or not. But my supervisor comes up to me and is like, hey Kelly, I want to talk to you. I just want to let you know that you came 3 minutes late, and just for you to acknowledge that. And I honestly didn't even know that they take notice of me being late or not, even though I was a volunteer or intern or whatever. But that's why ever since then I was like, okay, you have to manage your time wisely, especially if you have a long drive to go, then you have to acknowledge traffic if there's an accident. So it's really important to have that space in between if things does happen. So it's really important to be there early than late. So tip number 4 is ask for feedback or questions. So what I mean about that is, since I was in the hospital mostly, I'm going to use this as a scenario. Every time I did something, I would always ask the people who work there, because obviously they're more professional than me. They know what they're doing. And so every time I did a task, I would always ask them to check my work, to double check my work, if I'm doing it correctly, and how can I improve from where I am right now. Because you're there to learn, not to learn the basics, but to improve your strategies and what you do. And I feel like it's really important, because the employees there, or the workers, are there to help you. No, I know sometimes if it's a stupid question, it's honestly not. I always ask questions. I always ask, how can I improve? What can I do better? Or if I'm doing something wrong, to let you know. I know a lot of people don't like criticism. I know sometimes I don't, but it's really important, because especially if you're working in a hospital, you have to do things correctly no matter what, because you are working with patients, you are working with sick people, and you don't want to put people in risk if you don't know. So it's really important for you to ask questions and to ask feedback for you to improve. So tip number 5 is keep busy. So what I mean about this is don't use your phone. That's really crucial. Don't use your phone. I know sometimes it's tempting to have your phone in your pocket, but I always recommend putting your phone in your bag, in your backpack, the bag that you bring to your internship. And just because you don't want to get distracted, you're there, like I said, you're there to learn. And so if you have your phone, you're going to get notifications, you're going to get messages, and it's just going to distract you from learning. And also for you to keep busy. not for you to sit down. Sometimes I know there's some downtime, so it's okay for you to sit down. You could drink water, you could eat a snack. But when it's busy and if you're the one sitting down and everyone's running around, that makes you look really bad. Like I always say, if there's nothing to do, always get a wipe and start like sanitizing everything. Sanitize the door, sanitize the desk, sanitize anything that people touch, just for you to keep busy and not just be sitting down or on your phone, because it does look bad on your part and it looks like you just don't care that you're there. Tip number 6, it's set goals for yourself. So I feel like this one's important because you have to acknowledge why you're there in the first place. If it's like an internship, it's because it's something that you're trying to aim to as a career, and so you have to set goals in what you trying to accomplish with this internship, because if you're doing a good job out of it, then there's a chance that they might hire you. So you have to set goals for yourself in what you want to improve and what you want the employers to see in your skills and what you accomplish. So I feel like it's really important for you to set your own goals, where you could write down a list and see all the things that you need to improve, all the things that that you're good at, and kind of combine those together. And it also improves your performance as well. Tip number 7, what I refer about not saying no is, for example, like a scenario. If the employer in like a hospital is like, oh, would you like to join me to go see a patient, or would you like to go do this? I never said no to, if I wasn't busy, I would never say no. If I was busy, if I had another task to do, then I would say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't because I'm already doing this. But once I'm done, I could join you and I'll meet you over there. But it looks like you're taking initiative in that you do want to learn, and it's not like you're saying no because you don't want to go, because you're saying no because you have another task to do. It honestly makes you look good if you say yes, especially if you're not doing anything. Say yes to everything, and because those things, if you go with those employers, then you might learn something new. Tip number 8 is have a positive attitude. Anywhere that you work at, no matter what, people don't like having those people who like to nag, to complain, who are just negative people. I know for me, those people make me uncomfortable, and I just don't like working with them, and I try to avoid them as much as I can. But I know it's really hard. If there's an employer who is like that, then you have to kind of suck it up. But for me, if I'm gonna go somewhere, and especially as an intern, I don't want to show them that I'm negative or I complain about everything. No, you have to look at things at a positive. Even though some things might not go your way, try to have a positive aspect of it, because you don't want to show the people there that you work with that you are negative. And so with you having a positive attitude will help you stand out the most. Tip number 9 is grab as much knowledge as you can. Like I said, for like the rest of the video, you are there to learn as an intern, as a volunteer, even as you're starting out work, because obviously you don't know, and you're there to learn from other people, especially the people who work there. They've been there probably for years, and they probably teach you some tricks and tips. I know for me, when I was at the hospital, there are some things that I wasn't able to do because I was never used to it, or because I never see it that often. I would always ask help, and I would always want to learn, because at the same time, you're there to learn. You're not there to sit around to get those hours because it makes your resume look pretty, but you're gonna get something out of it no matter what. It's something small, something big, but you will get something out of it. So like I said, you have to grab as much of the information, learn as much as you can, because it'll go a long way. Tip number 10 is bring a notebook. So for the notebook, it's mostly for you to write things, like sometimes like if it's like a code for a door, or just things that you have to remember, like that's just too much information that you have to write down. I know for me, I always had like a small notebook and a pen with me inside my pocket if I had to write down things that I need to remember, if things that are really crucial that I have to know. Then I would write like my little notes in my notebooks. I really do recommend in a hospital, because there's so much things that's going on that you'll probably forget. So having it in a notebook and carrying them around with you is really good. Even like if you're starting out new, there's so much information that they give you in the first week. So having a small notebook for you to have reminders is really crucial as well. So for tip number 11 is be patient. Obviously on the first day that you're there, as a first day at the job, as a volunteer, as an intern, you're obviously not going to be the best right off the start. I remember for me, as a first year in my radiologic science program, I was always afraid because I felt like I was never good enough. And so you have to be patient and also be positive in yourself, because you're not going to be the best the first day, but you have to take time throughout the weeks, probably months it will take you. You will do a good job at the end, and then you will get something out of it. So you just need to be patient because it will take some time. Okay, so tip number 12, the last but the best one, because I find this one like the most important thing ever, is taking initiative. So taking initiative could be a lot of things, like how I mentioned in the beginning of the video. Introducing yourself, that's taking initiative. You're putting yourself out there. Asking questions, even though, like my dad always say, I'd rather be stupid for 5 minutes than the rest of my life, because it's really important for you to ask questions, because you're taking initiative. You're not being quiet. You're not being afraid to ask questions. So that's why I always say it's really important to put yourself out there. If you're the one, the quiet one in the corner, honestly, no one's gonna take a knowledge of you. You're just gonna look like the quiet one, the shy one. And it's obviously, I'm not saying to be the most confident, the most cocky person, but to put yourself out there, obviously being respectful, but taking initiative is really, really important. So an example that I could give you is for like the hospital. So every time an employer, like one of the employees there, would go see patients, I always offer, like if they never offered me, then I always put myself out there and offered myself to join. I would always ask, oh, is it okay if I could join you? Is it okay that I could watch and observe this case? Because all of this at the end is for your benefit, not for them, because you're there to learn. They don't care if you learn or not. But if they do see you that you're putting effort and taking initiative, then that's why they will always bring you along, because they're like, okay, Kelly is the one who always asked if she could join, so I'm gonna ask her every single time if I go to see a patient and to go see a case, then I will try to bring her along as much as I can, because they will think of you, and that's how you will stand out the most. Especially taking initiative will help you stand out the most. And so, like I said, this is a very important one. Alright, so that is it for the video. I hope you find these tips really useful. I know for me, since I am the oldest, I'm kind of like the guinea pig of the family, so I had to find these things by myself. People didn't really taught me this. I had to learn while I go. I've been interning, volunteering for like all of my college years, and also like my senior year of high school. So it's been like about 5 years. So I feel like I've gotten a lot of tips and tricks and how to stand out, especially with employers, because you never know if they could hire you as a volunteer, as a after your internship is over. That's honestly happens a lot. After your internship is over, they see how good of a volunteer of intern you are, then that they would honestly hire you on the spot. You really don't need to do the whole interview process, because they know the work ethics that you have already. So I find that these tips can be really useful for you. So like I said, give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below, and thanks for watching.